What if every age of history was just a costume for the same hidden power? First the soil, then the sword, later the altar, and today the algorithm. Power keeps changing its clothes, but the pattern doesn't. And Carl Jung, yes, the psychology guy, left us a map. Jung believed that beneath your personal mind lies a collective unconscious, a shared field of archetypes. The hero, the mother, the shadow, the self. These patterns don't just shape dreams, they shape eras. In Aeon, Jung links long periods of history, about 2000 years each, to big symbolic themes. He borrowed the timing from astronomy's precession of the equinoxes, ages moving backwards through the zodiac. But he treated the zodiacal signs as a metaphor, not horoscope fortune-telling. Think of it this way. Each age is a story container. Each sign is a primary symbol. That symbol highlights a way power is earned, justified, and transmitted, and the shadow that grows within it. We'll walk you through 4 ages that shape the world you live in now. In each section, we will go into detail of what power looked like, how it was kept, how it broke, and how it morphed into the next form. The bull symbolizes fertility, abundance, and embodied strength. In Taurus, power flows from food, water, and timing. Whoever can predict the flood, coordinate the sowing, and store the surplus becomes king, often a priest king. Sumer and Egypt ran on redistribution, grain in, rations out. Temples doubled as banks and HR departments. The bull stands for life force. Egypt's Apis bull, Minoan bull leaping, even the golden calf story that pull from bull power in the imagination. Control the calendar and you control labor, tax, and festival. Timekeeping becomes a political tool. Master scarcity and seasonality. Command storehouses and canals. Rule with ritual legitimacy. Nature's rhythm says you should lead. Hoarding and famine politics. Silos as leverage. Bread buys obedience. Ritual coercion. When fertility is sacred, sacrifice can be demanded. Class cement. Surplus locks in elites and labor castes. Metallurgy, chariots, professional warriors, trade routes connecting people beyond the field. As force scale faster than fields, the sword begins to outrank the sickle. Notice the pattern. Taurus begins as liberation from hunger and ends as a control through scarcity. Every age's strength hardens into its shadow. The ram symbolizes will, fire, and sacrifice. In Aries, history accelerates. Warrior kings surge, lawgivers codify, and empires expand. Abraham's ram in place of Isaac reframes sacrifice towards covenant and law. In Egypt, almond grows ram horns, divine sanction for rule. Greek and Roman arcs. From Homer's heroes to Rome's legion and law, the world is ordered by command. Roads, forts, and law codes knit vast territories. Archetypes aren't just Western only. The Queen unify with legalist rigor. The mandate of heaven becomes a moral legal frame for rule and rebellion. Build armies, project force. draft laws, create roads and tax systems. Sacralist order. Sacrifice shifts from fields, rites to state ritual. Militarism as virtue. Conquest for glory, enslavement, suppression as peace. Caste of violence. Soldiers on top, labor beneath. Tyranny creep. Emergency powers became default settings. Ordinary people crave inner meaning, not just borders and bootsteps. Mystery calls, ethical philosophies, and prophetic voices rise. The altar prepares to supersede the army. The strength's shadow. Security becomes subjugation. When the sword promises order forever, people reach for a higher law. With Pisces, the sacred turns inwards. The fish becomes a password for the persecuted sect that will reimagine the West. Water baptism marks rebirth, and everywhere pairs like orthodoxy versus heresy, saints versus sinners, and church versus dissent. Emperors crowned by popes, kings claim divine right, the church towards education, hospitals, poor relief and legitimacy. Monasteries copy text, tame lands and anchors time, the so-called canonical hours. Meaning structures daily life. Scholastics try to merge faith and reason. Then printing explodes text. Reformation fractures authority. Science rises. Renaissance redirects attention to the human form and the natural world. Blessings and belief. Rule under God. Control doctrine and education. Mediate sin and salvation, birth and death. Absolutism of truth, inquisition, witch trials, religious wars. Sanctified violence. Persecution becomes sacrament. Moral capture. Virtue signals legitimize cruelty. Modern echo. Outrage mobs, purity tests, heresy hunts online, same archetype, new stage. Renaissance, art and humanism. Reformation, plural authority, scientific revolution, testable truths, exploration, horizontal expansion. In Jung's word, enantiodromia, systems flip into their opposite. The vertical reach for heaven is crossed by a horizontal web of trade, text, and tools. Unity curdles into uniformity. When meaning is monopolized, the search for open knowledge begins. Aquarius pours not water, but knowledge. The printing press unchained the books, the internet unchained everything. Search, social, cloud, payments, logistics, the rails of modern life run on code. Models trained on the global library mediate hiring, lending, diagnosis, news, and even art. The new kings are protocol architects. Elon Musk, Sam Altman, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Peter Thiel. These new kings govern flows across continents. Own the flow, data, attention, and capital, set standards, APIs, formats, and recommender rules. Shape maps of meaning, search ranking, feeds, and assistants. Surveillance capitalism. Your life becomes telemetry. Algorithmic bias and opacity. The computer says no with no appeal. Epistemic fracture, deepfakes, filter bubbles, manufactured realities, and AI slop. De-skilling and dependency. Offload judgment to systems, agency atrophies. Soft social credit. Scores, formal or informal, gate access to jobs, loans, housing, and your reputations. So what is the antidote to all of this, and how can you design yourself as the counter archetype? Transparency by default. Inspectable models, auditable decisions. The final say remains human for high-stakes calls. Plural infrastructures. Open protocols, interoperability, reduce single points of failure. Civic tech literacy. Not just how to use, but how it works. Open knowledge mutates into total capture. The cure is never to flee the age, but to integrate its shadow. Ages overlap, often for centuries. Each age is born as a remedy for the last age's shadow. The remedy scaled becomes its own disease. The task isn't nostalgia, it's integration. Carry forward what was healthy, bind what was harmful. Taurus symbolizes soil. Power equals provision. Sacred equals fertility. And the Taurus shadow equals hoarding and coercion. Aries symbolizes the sword. Power equals command. Sacred equals sacrifice and law. And the Aries shadow equals tyranny and violence. Pisces symbolizes the altar. Power equals legitimacy. The sacred equals faith and salvation, and the Pisces shadow equals absolutism and persecution. Aquarius symbolizes algorithm. Power equals flow. Sacred equals knowledge and systems. And the Aquarius shadow equals surveillance and dispossession. So what comes after Aquarius? If the arc so far is matter turns into will, turns into faith, turns into knowledge, the next question is wholeness. So the next archetype is the architect or sage. Nature and technology, individual dignity and collective intelligence, freedom and responsibility, truth and mercy. This does not mean that we return to Taurus, Aries or Pisces, but we morph into a meta-integration of their best. Provision without hoarding, order without oppression, faith without fanatism, knowledge without domination. So when we say power used to live in fields, then armies, then altars, and now algorithms, we're not just listing facts, we're tracing the soul's curriculum. So your challenge in the Age of Aquarius is to pour out knowledge without drowning wisdom, connect the world without disconnecting the self, and build systems that serve life. The ages don't predict the future, they tell us what's being asked for now. So my question to you is, which age's shadow do you feel the most in your life? Is it the soil, the sword, the altar, or the algorithm? Drop it in the comments and tell me why. I'll be reading every one of them. And if you liked this video, feel free to hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this. Thank you all for watching.